Well, we got a great day here in Tucson. The people in the Bowl have been phenomenal. The hospitality that we've gotten so far, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I'm pretty dang experienced on bowl games, and so this has the makings to be a great bowl game. I appreciate the Nova Home Loans and what they're doing, and then also the people in the Arizona Bowl. It's our first practice outside. We worked inside last night and had a good robust workout, but today's going to be important. We're in half pads. We're pretty much at full strength. Titus Swain won't be going though. We're going to probably hold him. And so that being said, any questions from anybody?
How many viable running backs do you have available?
We've got 3, and that's going to be pretty good for us. So we would have liked to have Titus, but he's just off a little bit, and we think X is at 100%, so we're pleased with that.
What's the sort of the focus been like coming back off the break?
Good. I was concerned about it, which is why we pressed after practice yesterday. It's been my experience through the years. You come off the break and you're at the bowl site, kind of like a herd of cattle out there. They're out there running around trying to find their way. But we had a good focused practice with good energy. But we need to have a really focused practice today. We have an opportunity to film everything and we're not installing anything new, Davis. We have pretty much all that stuff done, but it's important, to make sure our players are able to execute the game plan.
Said anything on the quarterback situation?
Yeah, we have, and I'll make an announcement soon. Maybe make it after practice, but I want to make sure that we got everything. But yeah, we've made a decision what we're doing.
How much of the identity of Wyoming football is tied to running the ball and stopping the run?
That's been a mantra of us and something that I personally believe in. I think we cannot be one-dimensional, though. We had problems, particularly during the middle portion of the year, completing the ball. But it does have an impact. If you can run the football and stop the run, boy, that's a powerful element. And if you just look within our league, I don't know how many people watch the Air Force Washington State game. I don't think anybody throws the ball better than Washington State. And I don't know if anybody runs the ball better than Air Force, and you saw who came out on top.
Is there anybody that you don't expect to have any academic ineligibilities or anything like that?
You know what? Right now, I've been monitoring that, and the grades have to be posted, but nobody's given me any indication that we won't have all the guys here.
Did Titus make the trip?
Yes, he's here. Yeah, he's just not at 100%.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Would you say that your style of play is by choice or by necessity?
It's by choice, but it marries up to with where we're at. If you look at when Wyoming's really been good, they played great defense, and that's been through the Coach Roach years or through Coach Devaney's years or Coach Tiller's year. Even though, they threw the ball with Joe, they had a great offensive line, and you play good defense. And, in our climate in Laramie, it's not always going to be sunny and 60 degrees. I mean, we got several games where you got to play cowboy tough football, and that's been our brand.
How unusual is it to see a fullback on the depth chart or on the field these days?
I would say this is it's unique, and everybody says they want to run the football, but you better have a couple guys up front. And we're really excited about Skylar Miller. Skylar is a guy that, he's from Wyoming, and when I took the job, I envisioned us having some youngster that's from the state that wears a belt buckle that wants to knock the snot out of you, and so we're excited about Skylar Miller being our fullback.
What did you think was going to be the biggest obstacle when you made the jump from 1A to 1, and then what did it actually turn out to be?
Well, for me personally, what helped was my experience at about every level of FBS, whether at Nebraska when we were winning national championships or working at Tulsa or Duke or Rice. And then just understanding to be able to develop depth within your program was going to be important, and then have a recruiting model. That wasn't a short fix. The guys that are our local guys will tell you the first couple of years they were pretty rough. But I think we're in a better position now. And then the other thing that has challenged me personally is the Mountain West Conference. There's great coaches. The schools are well resourced and great football, and so that's been not a challenge, but a hill to climb. I'm not saying we're at the top of the hill, but I think we're now competing.
Coach, you mentioned that off the start, this has got the makings to be a great game. Can you talk about that? I mean, what are the makings?
Well, first of all, you look at our opponents. While a lot of people don't know a lot about Georgia State, I've got a pretty good understanding what kind of high school football is played in the state of Georgia. And I think last year they had 2 players represented their school at the Senior Bowl. And so anytime you have that kind of talent, they've got an explosive offense. While their quarterback, is somewhat maybe not at 100%. I think he's got a torn ACL, so he's moving around pretty impressive. And the fact that he's out there playing the game with an ACL tear gives you an indication of how important it is to them. They've got some explosive runs and some big-time receivers, and they play a stingy defense. So from that standpoint, we've got a great opponent. From our standpoint, we think we've got an emerging young football team. And so these guys are hungry. I know that, last year we were bowl eligible, but we're not selected. And while that was a real source of frustration, it's kind of put a chip on our shoulder. The guys, when we were selected, they were really excited. And you could tell by practicing and the number of practices we had, there was a real positive attitude. So I think it's got the making. I also know this is there's a real energy about celebrating this game, and I think also you're going to see a large contingent of Wyoming fan support that's down here, and it even harkens back to the days when we were in the WAC and we played at the University of Arizona, so you have some familiarity with that. So I think the makings are great, and I'm personally really excited about this.
And watching tape and in your preparation, has anything surprised you about Georgia State and what they're going to offer you?
You know what? What has surprised me is the number of explosive plays that that they score, and any time that you're on defense, those things are concerned. So we've been good, Davis, about limiting the explosive plays, but that's going to be an important key for us to have a chance to win.
Craig, you brought up guys knocking the snot out of you and wearing belt buckles. Logan Wilson is another one of those guys.
Yep.
This is going to be his last game. Just what does he mention this program?
Well,
is it kind of surreal to see it actually playing his last college football game?
The guys that are from this local area, number 30, Logan Wilson, is a captain. He'll be a 3-year captain. He's been invited to the Senior Bowl. I've had a lot of dialogue with several general managers in the National Football League. What is great is many of these guys are skipping their bowl game because they feel like it's going to really hurt their chances in the NFL. And, that's really, quite frankly, not the case. These guys it says something about Logan's character. He's going to be a fairly high draft choice. And it also says his commitment to the University of Wyoming. This is an important game for him. And it didn't even cross his mind not to play. And so I think that epitomizes the culture that we have and the type of players that we have. We've not had a player skip. Josh Allen didn't skip his bowl game, and Logan isn't either. And so he's an excellent player. He's excited about playing in this game along with Cash, and so we're excited to have him.
Anybody other than Titus that you may not have because of injury?
We could play Titus.
Okay.
I want to be clear on that. Titus has been cleared to play. What we've seen is his progression to come back. The other guys they're a little bit quicker and they're coming out of their breaks faster, and he's a little bit rusty. So that's why he's not going to be playing. He's going to dress, and he's available, but he just hasn't cracked the top 3 line.
What were some of the things that their coaches said about how he approached building their program? He might have more of a passing offense than you, but it sounds like you guys are pretty much on the same line as far as you don't care about stars, and he doesn't really.
Right.
He doesn't want to go after the big guys because they're not going to be happy.
Well, I can't speak for Georgia State, but I do know about his coaching tree and the places he's been. He worked at App State with Jerry Moore, a guy who I actually, Coach Moore coached me on the scout team many years ago, and have a great deal of respect for App State. And then his time with Steve Spurrier when they were really good at South Carolina. And I think he's got the right formula. If you look, football is, I still believe, a developmental game. And I think you can look about all the stars and what that does and how that translates into winning. I've had an opportunity to coach 5-star guys, and half the time they bust. That doesn't mean that they're not good football players, but football, you need to be hungry, and I think our football team exemplifies that, and I think Georgia State does as well. And so you've got good players that are going out there playing the game, and they're going to compete hard. And so the makings, like I said, I just think this is going to be a great ball game, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy covering it.
Your tailback, I'll call him X.
Xavier.
How did you find him, and how did you sell him?
Well, a lot of it, we watched tape. He's from Chicago, played in the Catholic League. He showed great movement, and we still do some old-style recruiting We send out guys on Friday night. Most of the time I'm out on a Friday night and watching a guy play. I did not watch X play live, but we vet him, watched a lot of tape on him, and he was a guy that we saw was an emerging player, but we needed to put some lean muscle mass on him and some speed and explosion. Our strength staff has done that. He went over 1,000 yards this year, and some of that comes down to his ability, but also some of it comes down to the ability of the offensive line up front.
You mentioned the quarterback. Is there, what have you seen from just their preparation, their progression?
Their quarterback?
Y'all's quarterbacks.
You know what, guys have utilized the time during the several practices. Actually, we had Levi out there one day all by himself and having a chance to throw more routes. And so, you know, they've utilized his time wisely. Brent Vigen's done a good job, and we need to continue to improve on it. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.